Hello, everyone. Welcome to Be Seen, where stories become mirrors and conversation becomes a way home to yourself. And my name is Kamsi. I'm the host of To Be Seen, and I'm so excited for today's episode and for today's guest. Honestly, I don't think I want to introduce this person. I want her to introduce herself. And the reason is because I don't really think that there's one way to define this next guest. And the reason why is I'm not trying to be dramatic or deep, but is because by her own self-definition, she's not someone that can really be boxed into one label. You know, she's been a model, she's been an entrepreneur, she's been a creative, she's a creator, she's a writer. She's so many things. She's really made of many, right? And our next guest is the amazing, beautiful, talented, gorgeous Ifeoma Nwobu. I knew that. I knew that you were going to laugh. But yeah, no, I mean, I'm not just trying to just, say sweet sounding words.
Yeah.
I really mean that. And one of the reasons why I think I was saying it to you before we started rolling, that I really wanted you to be on this podcast is because I think that, first of all, you're someone that embodies really that sense of, you said made of many.
Yeah.
You are so many different things, but you're still yourself. It's undeniably you in every single thing that you do.
Yeah.
Right? And, I think when did we meet? We met I think it was 2019.
Is it 2019?
Or 2020?
No. It feels earlier. A little
Really?
earlier. Maybe 2019 to be fair.
I think it's 2019. So I think it was from the tribe that we met. And then you were we had a mutual friend and we met in church at the time. But I think I met you then physically, but I'd been following you before that time. I think we had been following each other before that time, right? And
it's so interesting because a few weeks ago I saw the picture that we took when we went to foodies after church.
oh my gosh,
You
yes.
had your blonde hair
Yes.
with your ate jollof rice.
Yes. I remember that. And actually, that time you were even talking about how you wanted to go into tech. Do you remember? You don't remember. But I remember this. I was like, you were literally that, oh, that's... It was funny, you were like that, oh, I'm trying to even figure out this thing, this modern thing, don't tire me. I want to go inside tech, that there's money in tech.
Really?
Yes, I remember that. I actually remember you saying that, but you were like that. I was like, oh, you have to learn all these different things. What are you going to learn? Is it coding? Because you started trying to learn how to code, I remember. Yeah. And so at the time, right, one thing that was so interesting, I remember finding out afterwards that you were still in university at the time. I had no idea.
Yeah.
And it's because the kind of person that you are, and I'm not trying to flatter you, whatever it is, but I feel
That's
like you've
also
always, it's to flatter you. But I feel like you've always had a very clear sense of who you are. And I don't know if it is that you've always had a very clear sense of who you are, or if you've always had a way of showing this sense of confidence. What would you say it is? Have you always had a very good sense of who you are? Would you say that?
No. I haven't. And I think that's the interesting thing. I think that, for me, I have a base, right? And there's a foundation. But what comes on top of that foundation are, all the different things that I'm still trying to figure out. Think of a house.
Yeah.
No matter what kind of structure you want to build, the foundation has to be there and it has to be solid enough.
Yeah.
And then when you start putting this house together, you're like, oh, do I want pink windows or do I want a green ceiling?
Yeah.
Then there's now the many things that make it beautiful.
Yeah.
So I would say that yes, I've always known myself in sense of the foundational aspects of it.
Yeah.
But with the more decorational things,
Yeah.
I'm still trying to figure out even what I like.
Yeah. Of course. Yeah.
I would say yes, and for me, that foundation is the one that doesn't change. It's being a Christian, it's being a child of God. It's why there's so many other things that I would say about myself, but then this is one thing that is the most consistent thing, and everything else just flows from there.
Yeah. I love that. So if I were to, because I said I didn't know how to define you, and the reason why that is because when you break someone on this and you're like, oh, she's an entrepreneur, she's the founder of this, and I just feel knowing you, even knowing you even from afar, I wouldn't really say that that's really a way to define you. So how do you define yourself these days? When people say who is Ifeoma? That question, I actually hear that question like that. Can you tell me about yourself? I'm like, where do we start from? So how would you, if I were to ask you, could you tell us about yourself? How would you define yourself?
I'll first start with saying my name. I feel like people underestimate the importance of their names before titles.
Yeah.
My name, I'll say my full name, Ifeoma Nwobu, right? And I want that to be something that people, one, know, and two, can pronounce, hopefully, right? And then right now, I would say in terms of what I do, it's weird because when you were saying all of those things, I know it's usually like stuff that makes people feel proud of themselves. But right now, like today, in this moment, it can change by the next 1 hour.
Yeah.
It's currently something I'm insecure about. Yeah.
Can you tell me more about that? Like, what do you mean?
Yeah, because I'm so aware of, we live in a time where we're building all these different parts of our lives so publicly.
Oh, yeah.
And so, like,
Yeah.
we've actually forgotten what it feels like to go through all these changes in more private ways.
Yeah.
And it's not easy to keep going through these transitions and changes, carrying all these people along. I'm not even, I don't consider myself a celebrity, but I can't also deny that there's people, like, I know people that have known me since I was writing WAEC in secondary school. And I'm just like, wait, so what's, I don't know.
Yeah.
Right. So I'm so conscious of the fact that there's so many things happening and so many people can see. I feel so naked. And that's just because of the time we live in, where, for example, there's all these networking events, there's social media, you have to put a bio. If you're called to speak somewhere, you have to say a bio, you have to send them a bio and a picture with a title. It's so ingrained in the way, like, we're designed today that you can't say, oh, I'm in the middle. Like, even I've seen people say they will have on their title X something something, even on their bio X this company, X that.
It's always when it's the big companies that they have those shares.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
But then I've seen people X CMO, X CEO, and I'm like, I don't know if
that's actually a very interesting like way to start this conversation, because that is one of the things that I actually wanted to talk to you about, because in this world, and particularly with being so, we've never been more visible. Like, as human beings, we've never been more visible.
Crazy.
And not just have we never been more visible, we have never been more needy of visibility. Like, it's not just that, oh, we are visible, it's that we think that we have to be visible.
It's also a thing that is even, and I have nothing against this, but just to show you how, like, it's so ingrained in the system that and to give reasons why it's an insecurity, right? Because that thing you're saying now, visibility, like, if I scroll on Instagram, I can show you how many, maybe like webinars or, you know, things about visibility, getting visible, getting paid, getting seen. And so you that you're just there, like, I don't even know, like, I can't even say I want to apply for something, because they will ask you, what company do you work for? And I'm just right there, I'm like, I don't work for any company.
And what does that look like for someone who is still trying to figure that out? Like, it's almost like there's no space for people that are in the middle, because they will now say that, oh no, you have to make sure that you are, you know, you're failing in public, you're growing in public. But what if I'm in that middle phase where I'm even trying to figure out, like, who am I? Like, and I don't think we make space for that. And I want us to get into that, honestly, like, a little bit more in this conversation. But I wanted to just first ask, you know, how has your year been, Ifeoma?
My year.
The honest truth. The unabridged truth.
Yeah. This year, 2025, has been, I don't know, interesting. So I don't have the best relationship with the concept of New Year.
Yeah.
I'm one of those people that for the last 2-3 years, the way I've treated New Year's is, it's just a rollover.
Yeah.
Right. I have broken up with my obsession. Actually, maybe this is the healthy relationship with it. I've broken up with my obsession or previous obsession with New Year, new me, this and that. It's like I'm rolling over into the next year. So even right now, I already have my personal theme for next year. It's my boring year immersion. I'm going to be so immersed in doing not just things I care about, but things I know I'm supposed to do. And boring in the sense that it's going to be so routine that I'm preparing my mind to wake up every day and not look for anything exciting, nothing new. Not in the toxic way. Yeah, like not in the, like I'm here and I'm telling myself, like, and I even want to practice with December. I'm saying no to
being outside.
Anything. Like, I've already budgeted my time. Even I started doing this earlier this year. I took no speaking engagements. I was like, you know what, I'm tired.
But why? Why does it feel like, you know, it's interesting because of the career you've had, like the trajectory you've had, like whether it's being a model, you know, at some point, being a co-founder, you know, being an entrepreneur, all these different things, right? You've always kind of had to almost like live a life that is full of adventure. So is it because of that you almost feel like I'm kind of tired of all of that? I want to just get into a routine and a structure that just feels not very exciting but true to who I am.
So it's two things.
Okay.
One, I feel like people were not having the kinds and the qualities of conversation I care about.
Okay.
It was always about serving them and what they want to hear. So you invite me to speak somewhere and you're asking me about my company that I built and this and that. I'm like, I've said all these things before, and it feels like you just want to have it on your own platform, like where exclusivity, and I have no issues with that, but I'm personally not interested in talking about this thing. I feel like there's so many depths to uncover, so many things, so many thoughts, so many...
Or they want to ask about, like, is it like why you left, or...
Something like that, either why I left or what happened before, and I move on too quickly from things. I'm like, see, I'm over this thing, I'm sorry. Like, I know it's part of my experience, but I don't want to talk about it. I want to talk about other things. And so to answer, that's the first reason. The second reason is because I think it is so easy to become, or to have an illusion of what you're really not yet.
Yeah, because of what other people say.
Yeah. So it's a way of grounding my own self. It's very hard when you are this person who has always built your own stuff, and so you don't really have many people to report to. I'll give an example. I was applying for something earlier in the year, and I was asked for references, and Kamsi, like, my head was spinning because I was like, who would refer me? Because this is the typical kind of application where if you were employed by someone, it's your employer, your bosses, your managers, you have all of these people that can recommend your work. But then I was really looking because I'm like, I have nobody. Or I feel like I have people, but then they can't really attest to the kind of work I do or how good I am at what I do because we didn't really have that, like, I wasn't reporting to them for anything.
You didn't have that relationship.
I'm the one that people will report to and say, oh, I've done this, check it, like, review it, all of those things. So for me, it's a personal way of grounding myself. I have to always find structures to remember that if I'm like, you've done this, you've done that, but this is not it. This is not it. There's still more. You cannot get carried away by these things, by whether applause, compliments, criticism, whatever it is. There is still a lot more out there. And so for me, the solution is really creating the spaces that you want
for yourself.
Right? Like, whether it is like a podcast, like where you have all these things that and you want to talk about, talking about it without permission, just really making use of the agency that you have, writing a book, starting something like a personal project that probably doesn't even pay you. Right? Just because there's this thing inside of you that you want to do. So something I do a lot, or one way I show this expression a lot is just I photograph myself in, like, I was just like, oh, I want to do this photo shoot. So I have
and
this idea
you're not even sharing it, like, just for me.
Exactly. Like, oh, I have this concept in my head, like, okay, I'm not doing this as a business yet. Because I could say I want to creative direct, but how do you even validate that process? You work with yourself, right? And I do it every year. Like, that's how I started, like, the Made of Many series. Because I was just like, I want to see myself in, like, all these different
facets of myself.
Exactly, and like write about it as well and document it.
But I think that's even something that's very interesting in what you've said is that, we have, for example, you just talked about how you do not necessarily subscribe to, like, the natural rhythm of this is a new year, this is the expectation of this new year and all of that. And so I think it's very interesting, like, even that, and even with this sense of, like, finding it difficult to find my own definition for myself in this season. A lot of people, I think a lot of generally young people, and particularly women, we feel like we have to almost conform to what everyone else expects of us. And we don't even realize that we're conforming because it's just us just doing what we see everyone else doing. And we think that is normal. And so being able to take a step back and be like, you know what, like, this is what everyone else is saying. This is what the noise is. And this is what I think. This is what Ifeoma thinks. This is what Kamsi thinks, right? And, I want to kind of, like, peel that back a little bit and understand, like, how did you get to that point where you are able to, I guess, find that thread of meaning and truth for yourself, like that inner sense of, like, self-awareness, that sense of, like, who you are. How did you get to that point?
I'm still getting there.
Yeah,
of course. Yeah. I think it's really about introspection. Oh my God, if this year, because you asked me how this year was, and
Yeah.
I just realized I didn't really answer it. This
Yeah.
year was
It's part of it.
yeah, like this year was so introspective for me. I think I
Yeah.
learned how to think.
How?
I think I learned how to think more for myself
Yeah.
in the entirety of what that means and what that, like, it's just simple. It's not, when I say learn how to think, I'm not like deep stuff. It's
Yeah.
like, oh, you want to wear this
Yeah.
today, why?
Yeah.
Right,
can
I want to
relate.
feel comfortable. Or is it because people expect that because I always dress nice, that's why I should wear it? Or is this really how I feel today? So even, for example, just right now, like I was like, podcast, should I put on makeup?
Yeah.
And I was like, you know what, I'm not really feeling like this. But the
Yeah.
usual thing is when you have like media appearances and all of these things, you should be made up because camera picks up details. Today I'm like, I don't care what detail the camera
Yeah.
picks up. I don't feel like wearing makeup. And
Yeah.
there are days you see me with a full-on face. So
Yeah.
it's just even little
Yeah.
decisions like
Yeah.
that. And I become so introspective where I can even call myself out on something I know that I should have done or could have done better.
Yeah.
And I've realized that's not the easiest thing to do.
Yeah,
I
of
think
course.
it's very easy to just go with a template that has been set. And I
Yeah.
also believe in that, like, you shouldn't always be contrarian. There are
Yeah.
times when, like, you can just
That part.
yeah, you can just go with what is happening,
Happening,
go with
and
the
it's
laid
fine.
down
Yeah.
rules and
Yeah.
regulations. But some other times it's okay to just create or carve out your own personal role for doing something.
So, I mean, I think what you've said is very interesting because I think it's like this sense of not really rebelling, but rebelling against the shoulds. Like, I should do this. I think I shared something on my Instagram like some weeks or months back about how I'm in this place in my life where personally, I also feel like I'm trying to live a life that feels like mine and not feels like what I should do.
How are you doing that?
It's this same thing you're saying, this same introspection, this same spending a lot of time with yourself because, it sounds so simple, but I don't think as a generation, not even to be deep, but I don't think we spend enough time with ourselves. Like, we're always on our phones. We're always, like our parents said, it's those phones, but like we're always on our phones. We're always scrolling through life. And even making space for introspection, making space for me personally, like that looks like journaling, for example. Like, okay, I'm dealing with something now. I'm trying to even figure out something. How can I need to synthesize my thoughts, like putting pen to paper and being like, okay, this is what I'm trying to do, Or I feel, even little things like I feel like as if like I've been caring too much about people's opinion of me recently.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. Do you know why it's difficult? Because I think it's difficult because it's going against the human design in some way.
Yeah.
We're
No,
built
yes.
to be very communal. I
Yeah.
don't blame anybody who
Yeah.
feels like they need an opinion from here or from
Yeah.
there or from there. I think where we're blurring the lines a bit is thinking that we should be accountable to every and anyone.
Yeah.
But it's hard because that's
Yeah.
not how we are. We crave at the very least just some form of companionship.
Yeah.
So we even want to know that if I do this thing, it would make me feel a little comfortable if there was someone else somewhere that was also doing it. So even the concept of, oh, am I underdressed or overdressed? Because you only feel overdressed if you're the only one who shows up somewhere with a very maximalist attire. So I think it is hard because it is hard.
Yeah. No, I completely agree. I think it's hard. Like it's the reason. It's like almost like working against your own design, which is the reason why it's something you have to do. And it's not necessarily that we should stop caring. Like, you know what I'm saying? I don't care about anybody's validation. It's not true. We're always going to care about what people think about us. But we should now be careful and infiltrating what kind of people should we think about. Like, whose opinion should we care about? Whose opinion should we treat with levity? And who should we take very seriously, right? But I think that, what I'm even talking about more so is this sense of understanding and knowing your own voice.
Yeah.
And knowing when it is not your voice. And knowing when it is the voice of the world. And knowing what is the voice of what people's expectations are of you. And I think specifically I wanted to talk about this with regards to, even you leaving your company, like, leaving SenseStack. And we don't have to go into details of the why, of course. But I remember when, a particular blog, like, put it out and shared, like, oh, you've decided to leave. And they even honestly, they lied about the way it happened and all of that, right? And I remember, you put out an article, I think it was on Substack or something, and you're, like, reclaiming your own story, like, when you are ready to share your own truth, and it is your own story to tell, right? And I think that in this world, right, particularly with the way how visible you were with that company.
Yeah.
People are probably confused, like, what does she mean that she's leaving? Why is she leaving? What does that mean? And people feel like they deserve to know.
Yeah, I even saw some things like, oh, that's just journalism, everything. I'm like, okay, so this is just my own life too. Like, don't be mad if I now write, because Kamsi, like that day, I was like, no, I'm not giving this one full day.
Yeah.
I didn't sleep. I was like, no, I must write my own Bible.
Oh, you wrote it that day?
Yes.
Hey.
Once I saw it, I started writing. I didn't sleep till like 6 a.m. Then I think I scheduled it or something like that.
Yeah.
I did not sleep because I knew the importance of, okay, if you've, like, it's fine. If you've done it because you are trying to be professional, me too, I have to do it because this is me. And because ideally, there's a world in which we would have had the conversation and everything I said would have been on their own platform and whatnot. But when you want to come and yank me out of, because mind you, they were already like a few months late. I'm like, this thing happened since last year. You people just found out and you just want to, and I get it. I understand that's how
how journalism works. Like, you just have to, you want to be the first to break the news.
But because I understand, I'm also going to do this in this way because I think that a lot of people expect you expect there to be issues first. And that's the thing I said about introspection. When I decided to leave my company, I was somewhere in a very tiny room in the UK. It was winter at that time, around this time last year, actually.
Yeah.
And if you had told me earlier than that period that I was going to leave, I would have told you what. Because people don't get it. This was my baby, my thing. Like, you did not care about this thing more than I did, right? But I knew it was time.
How did you know?
Obviously, it was just... I've been careful about saying this because I don't want people to feel like... Because I feel like people, specifically Christians, have weaponized this thing where they say, God told me something.
Yeah.
But I just started to get that inclination. It was like an internal alarm that would just go off in my head every day.
Yeah.
And mind you, there was no prior plan.
Yeah, to do it, to make that move.
So it was just like,
this
like every day I wake up and I'm like, I'm not supposed to be here anymore. I'm not supposed to be here anymore. And then it got worse. When other people, because that was a very sensitive thing. I didn't tell anybody,
for a while.
Not even my siblings.
Oh, wow.
Right? I didn't tell anybody. Because I wasn't sure, right? It could have been me. Maybe, what if I was burnt out? I asked myself all these questions. I was like, what if
maybe
I was
it's your
burnt out?
emotions speaking to you.
What if I was just, seasonally depressed?
Yeah.
What if I was just tired and just needed a short break, and instead of making a permanent decision based on a temporary feeling, just take some time off? I could have done that.
Yeah.
But I knew it's like, because people I hadn't told about this were now telling me. One of my friends, we got on a call and we were just talking, and this was a long conversation. We didn't talk about this at all because at the time she was even about to get married. And by the end of the conversation, she was like, oh, let's pray. And then, you pray for me, I pray for you. And she was like, oh, and as you gear up to listen, like, I was like, wait. I was like, wait. Did I tell you about this thing? She's like, no, but like, I just had this thing. I don't even think she knew.
Friend.
Yeah, like, just like, oh, as you gear up. I was like, huh? And then I started seeing, I don't use social media. I don't use things I see on social media. Because honestly, if you look for confirmation, you would also find it.
Yeah.
That's the truth. If you want confirmation about it,
confirmation bias. Basically.
You will find it. But then it was more like the people close to me that I had not even told. It was almost as if like they were going through that transition with me as well.
I want to just like think about, like, zoom into that a little bit, right? But in terms of that discomfort that you felt, because I think a lot of times, we actually don't realize that discomfort is a signal.
Yeah.
And a very, very loud signal at that. A lot of times, discomfort is actually a signal from God. I like what you said about the fact that sometimes, like, we Christians can weaponize that. God told me. And sometimes that God told me is actually your mind. Yeah. God can tell you things. The Holy Spirit is always talking to us, right? It's not that's not...
Because God can tell you to stay too.
Exactly. But then sometimes, like, if your mind and your emotions are so clouded with something, you might think that God has told you something, whereas it's just what you want. Yeah. And that's your desire speaking, and it's using under the guise of the voice of God. But I know in my own life, like, there are times when I experience such discomfort at a particular, season, during a particular season, in a particular job, for example, that was an answered prayer at the time
Yeah.
or before that. And that was the job that, for example, like I knew that I had signs, like I had conviction that God wanted me to be in that particular place.
Yeah.
But then when the cloud was about to shift, make no mistakes about it, I felt it in my spirit.
Yeah.
And I remember one particular job that I was in. I remember that this job was like, at that time, it was a combination of like an answer prayer for me. And it was something that I felt like I got a lot of confirmation about how this is what God wanted me to be. But then it's like, when God gives you that, when it's now time for you to move on, he will also give you signs that it's time to move on. And sometimes those signs are internal. Yeah. And it's like, sometimes what you just said about how you couldn't shake it off. You wake up every morning and you're like, you need to leave now. Yeah. And it's almost confusing because you're like, well, this is the thing that you've talked about, right?
Or even apart from that, it's like, oh, I can stay and do other things. Because I had like a friend tell me that, like, you can stay and do other things. Yeah. And do you know the funny thing? My official resignation date was exactly 4 years, the same date
that you started working.
That we started like working on that idea.
Wow.
And I didn't know plan, this after, but because I was even like, God, now can't I stay, until after then? Let me just get small financial buffer to just now finally. It's like, no, it's before. You should do it before. And I'm careful to not say the date, but it's like, you should do it before this time. Yeah. Like, don't go into this particular
season
month
and time and
with
month.
that thing. Like, and for me, it was hard, right? And then I realized, when I realized that, I realized more long term or more big picture, that it was the end of a 10-year cycle for me.
10-year cycle from when?
This was part of from 2015 to 2025. Oh. It was like, and that whole like transition, everything, the modeling, everything, that was the end of that part. And for me, I find it interesting because I think I wrote about this as well. We are part of nature. And you don't ever see the tree asking somebody, when is it time to shed my leaf? Yeah. Or like, when is it time? Like, the rain does not tell you, is it time to fall? Yeah. It does, because there's that internal wiring, right? And I struggle, and I find that it's human beings, and we are at the highest end of nature, in some sense, right? Because it's a whole ecosystem of animals, trees, everything. But we are the ones that are most uncertain about our own times and seasons. And I find that is because a lot of times we are unplugged from our own source. If you take a fish out of water, it's going to die. If you take some animals into extreme heat conditions, they're going to die. If you take some animals into extreme cold conditions, they're going to die. So that's why I said, for me, my foundation is the constant, because yes, it might not sound like the most logical business minded thing to say, God told you to leave a company. That sounds so stupid. Right? If
you don't understand it, it's going to sound ridiculous.
I can't lie to you, it sounds so stupid. It sounds like a silly, cheap excuse.
Like you're just lazy, just tell us you're lazy and leave.
Like, especially
you were tired.
People will say now, like, the economy overseas is like hitting businesses. That's why I'm like, fine. You know what? Cool. It's okay. But I find that human beings are we're the ones that struggle most with understanding times and seasons. We understand time in terms of new year, new month, new day, but those are not accurate or vivid representations of seasons. So when I realized that this was a 10-year cycle that just ended, it became even more sacred and emotional for me. And obviously, I don't expect any other person to treat it with the same level of sacredness, because you don't get it.
It's not your
but
life,
for
it's
me,
not your story.
It was hard, because I'm like, wow, like, end of an era for real. Like, this is not even me, like, oh, now I'm going to the next thing. And so when you've kind of built a life, like 10 whole years, because everything led to that. Like, SenseTac was not a random thing. It's so interconnected with even maybe the first day I started modeling. It's because,
and that's the thing about times and seasons. Like, you were supposed to, and for people that maybe don't know the story, like, you were a co-founder for a couple of years, and then you took a step back from that. And there was like a bit of, from some people on the media, there was a bit of backlash of like, okay, why did you do that at this time? And people just did not get it. And people also felt like as if like, oh, this is your baby. Like, it almost felt as if like, they're like, oh, you've abandoned your child, that kind of thing. And something that is very interesting about the story, and something that I was just thinking about, even when we're thinking about this conversation, is that when God has given you like a conviction about something and a direction, when you have learned that the hand of God is what has been guiding your life till now, you are more terrified about living outside the will of God and God's plan for you more than other people's opinion and what they're going to think and how they're going to receive it.
Because now, like, nobody has been with me this year. That thing it didn't even go far. It was just a couple hours and everybody was back to...
And then you're looking at yourself in the mirror. So even something people are so scared about, like, if I make this decision, people are going to feel like I've disappointed them, I've done... But the truth is that everybody moves on.
Nobody is watching you that closely.
Nobody.
I promise. Like, none. Because imagine not making a decision you're supposed to make because of a reason as fickle as this, but you're the one who lives with the consequences after like everything is done. Because this year has been, I don't even know how to describe this year.
What would you say is the biggest lesson you've had to learn about yourself this year? Just in line with that, like, what would you say?
Wow. That I'm not on my own, I'm not as good a person as I think I am. Like, I'm not that great. Like, and I'm not talking about in terms of work, am I great? No, like, I'm great at what I do or whatever I choose to do. But I'm so internally, like, messed up. Like, we all are. And I think this year, just not having any of these, like, work distractions. I'm just like,
and just being confronted with yourself, like
Ifeoma every single day. Like, Ifeoma, you're not, like... And not from a place of condemnation. It's from a place of just recognizing that this is what we talk about, but this is it in practice. Because we're like, human beings are so evil. And so, but you are human beings too.
And what are your own...
Like, this is you. Like, you can't run away from this thing. And this is the first step to the most sustainable level of growth, where you can do this and not run away from yourself. Or you can discover this and not run away from yourself. You can know this and still love yourself. You can know this and still love other people without feeling like a fraud. Like, there's so many times I've just felt like, Ifeoma, what the hell are you doing? Like, look at all these people that say they like you. Like, there are all those voices, and I'm just like, oh my God.
What do you think? Like, I mean, that's so honest. And I think that, it's actually so important for us. And, you don't hear a lot of times us saying this, that, like, I actually have so many issues that I need to deal with. And there's nothing more honest than that. And not just honest, but nothing more freeing than that. Because when you are confronted with that and you're like, okay, these are the issues that I have, then you're able to work it out. Have you noticed that we're always talking about, oh my gosh, people are always talking about how people, for example, like, let's say when it comes to, men and women and the issue that men and women have with each other, then someone is like, as a woman, like, I feel like men are so wicked,
and it's blaming someone.
But then and as a man, it's like, oh, men, women are so wicked. And it's like, and there's actually truths to both things, right? But then it's like, are the people that are the wicked ones, are they actually even looking at themselves? And seeing they don't know a lot of the times.
So like, I have a personal rule. Sometimes people, so it's very easy to weaponize this knowledge as well. Because you can be the person who's like, I know I have issues, but like, and then you now use that to get some mileage from a situation. So because you know that you go ahead of the situation and you think, and then you become this person who could manipulate people and gaslight them and all of that. But for me, I think that one of the rules I made personally was just in my interactions with people, whether it's work, personal, whatever it is, if it's not an extreme case of the law being broken against me, or like some form of obvious intense betrayal, like you killed someone around me or you stole from me or something, if it's not that extreme, then I had a role to play in that friction or that conflict. And I'm not going to say, oh, my own was worse or your own, because I had this ex who, I don't know how he calculated it. It was like the relationship didn't work because I was 80%, that's me. I was 80% at fault, and his contribution was 20%. I'm like, how did you? I still have the boys' notes. Like, wow. Like, how did you even do that math? And you've
I'm very interested in knowing that formula, like how you got that
like
80%.
I would actually like to know till today, but like
Yeah.
I had to tell myself that if
I
I'm
had
like,
some faults to play as well. Were you able to tell yourself that truth? Like, oh, like this is my fault.
like you sat down and wrote that, like, okay, if I'm at 80%,
That's
it's
crazy. I'm
20%.
sorry.
And I'm just like, yeah, this, whatever. But
Yeah.
for me, I just made that personal rule for myself that if
Yeah.
you and I, for example, go through any form of conflict, and it might not be obvious, it might be
Yeah.
that I didn't say something
Yeah.
in a way that you like or anything, then I would hold myself responsible
As well.
first. Not even just as well, first.
Okay.
Okay, like Ifeoma, you could have said this better, you could have done this. And sometimes it's just, I shouldn't have engaged with this person at all. It's not that you always did something that is outrightly
Bad,
like
yeah.
bad, or
But you're
it's
just like,
I should not have spoken to this person. Like, that's my responsibility
Yeah.
here. And so I learned, like, it's not also on me to teach everybody
Yeah.
everything.
and I kind of like this angle, right?
Yeah.
Because it gives you power.
Yeah.
Because somehow I feel like we're always putting power in everybody else's hand.
It gives you power, but it also kind of traumatizes you.
How?
Because I blame myself a lot.
Okay, so then there's now like the bad part of that, because
Yeah.
you also don't want to blame yourself for things that other people are doing.
Yeah.
You can respond, or you can feel responsible for the part you had to play, if you had a part to play, or the way you respond to it. But then, like,
I prefer the power, though. I think the power outweighs the blaming part, because
Yeah.
you move on faster. Not faster. You forgive. You move on.
Yeah.
You're not sitting there waiting for an apology. It hurts
Yeah.
you, but then you hopefully find healthy outlets.
So
Maybe you could talk about it with other people. But and I've had to pray to God, like, God, please keep me humble. Because when you reach here, it's easy to be proud.
yeah.
Ah.
When you reach where is the place?
When you reach here where you're like, I take responsibility.
Yeah.
Like, and that's what I learned a lot being an entrepreneur and being
Yeah.
a leader. You just have to take responsibility for
Yeah.
everything.
Even when it's not your fault.
Like, I had
Because it's
people,
nothing like not your fault, really.
it's just like I had people that would tag me and call me a thief because, let's say, this thing where, like, you pay for a service ahead of time, and then when it's being refunded, it doesn't go to your bank account, it goes to the wallet of that platform, right? And then they'll be like, no, you're a thief.
You stole my money, you know why my 2.5?
You stole my, oh, my, and so, like,
And you have to be like, okay, well, I guess I'm a thief to you.
yeah,
That's
like,
okay.
Cool. I still have some
And then
screenshots.
Yeah.
I forgive me, Hasha. So, like,
Okay, but I want us to go back to that question about, like, the hardest thing you've had to learn this year. So you talked about, like, obviously knowing that you're seeing your own blind sides.
Yeah.
Right. So what is now that process of, I guess, getting better, like that becoming of, like, okay, healing, right? Because I mean, how have you been able to? I mean, you don't have to be like, you can share if you have one or two that you're like, okay, these are the things about me. Maybe I'm selfish. Maybe I'm this, or you could just explain, like, what exactly has that healing process look like for you in this year? Because healing is the worst part. No one wants to talk about healing. Like, it's one thing to recognize your faults, but it's another thing to not be like, okay, now this fault now, what do I do with it? Particularly, a lot of times we don't have the tools. We don't have the tools innately. And I'm trying to say that because of some of the things that are issues. Some of them are from childhood trauma.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to, like, say, just like, brandish it as childhood trauma, but it's true.
Yeah, it's very true.
Yes. Have you identified some of the things, like, where they came from for you?
Yeah.
Okay.
A lot, to my surprise, I discovered that a lot of the things I'm currently struggling with, one way or the other, and this is fully clinically undiagnosed, by the way, but, like, a lot of it comes from losing my mom at such a young age.
Yeah.
Like, and that's why I say, like, we're talking before this, like,
Yeah.
I cannot believe how much of my life has like become this way because of this loss.
Yeah.
And that's why when people try to undermine grief, I'm like, like, so this is not even a thing of, grief, like, you're sad, it's like, just, you don't know how much of yourself you lose or how much of yourself changes because of certain experiences. And so let me see if I can give examples. So I can be very bullish with my opinions.
Yeah.
Like,
no, you are. You are. I don't always agree with what you say, but one thing I like about you is that, like, you're like, this is my opinion, and that's on that. And I think we need more people to actually be like, this is my own opinion.
Yeah, but
like, it's okay to disagree. Like, it's fine.
To the point where, like, I do think, and yes, we're always like, truth, objective,
If my like, this is the
Sure,
truth.
like this is actually the truth. I'll tell you, yes, I can accommodate and tolerate your own things more, but it doesn't mean that you're saying the truth, Sha. I saw one meme like the other times, like, I get your perspectives, like, look in my mind, I'm like, I don't get this. This is nonsense. But anyway, so that I can be very bullish with my opinions.
Yeah.
And I realize that it comes from a place of not like at the roots, not it's not like, oh, I'm bullish on my opinions because my mom died. No,
Yeah.
it's like when you trace the roots, because that's what introspection does. Like
Yeah.
you go
Not
very,
just the symptoms.
yeah, like you go
The
very,
roots of,
very, very deep inside.
Yeah.
I realize it's because that I've not always had that some level of parental or familial leadership. I had to figure out a lot of things myself. So what do you mean I went through this process and you tell me it's your own?
Yeah.
So even learning the concept of submitting to authority.
It's difficult for you because you never had authority
Because
to
like,
submit
what do
to.
you mean? I've not
long time.
lived with like mommy, daddy,
Yeah.
siblings. Oh, come
Yeah.
home by 6 p.m.
Yeah.
Come home. Like
Yeah.
since I was, as I want to say 15, because that's the earliest. And not like I was
Yeah.
out there wilding. It's like
Crazy,
even
yeah.
little things like I stayed in the hostel throughout, and
Yeah.
from uni, I just, when people are going back home, sorry, like I didn't like going back home
Yeah.
for certain reasons. So I'll find a friend, we'll stay, like, even sometimes when it was not the safest thing to do. So imagine like now discovering that there's this part of your personality that at the core is tied to this thing. And I don't need a psychologist to tell me that. Sometimes, like, a lot of times you will need that, right? Like, but there's so many things that just by sitting with myself and even just the things happening and questioning till you get to the root. And so there's things like that. We spoke earlier about like hyper independence, and you were like, oh, I'm not an Ada, like a first daughter. Where do you think my own comes from?
Yeah.
Like, this might be something that's peculiar to Adas with the
the
normal,
whole hyper independence.
but like for me as well, like that's not even a first daughter. I'm not a first daughter. I'm not a first child.
Yeah.
I have dealt with that. Why? Like you've just not had any fallback plan. You've just not had any.
Like you have to become your own fallback plan.
Yeah, like
in
you
a
have,
way.
like there's no mommy to go and cry to, and my dad is very much alive and present, but we have that very traditional or conservative. Like now we're trying to redefine fatherhood and parenthood and see more dads present. But the truth is, my mom, when she was alive, was that person. My dad was like going to work, traveling, trying to settle out one or two other things.
And grief is something that is so wild because you were 12 years old when you lost your mom, and and it's like you're 25, 26 now, and you're trying to you're even just figuring out the issues that have developed because of her absence in your life. And I'm curious, like, obviously, because you're someone of faith as well, like, how have you, how has God helped you to like process and unpack that? And even on this stage of healing, because of course, like healing, I don't think grief is something that ever disappears and goes. It just shape shifts in different seasons. Like you carry it in different ways, right? But how are you carrying grief right now?
I'll say it's more in awareness. I don't remember the last time I cried thinking of my mom. It's so weird because I had to find some of her pictures like a couple weeks ago because I started to forget what she looked like. I'm not going to lie to you. And then most of these pictures are her when she was much younger. So that was not even her.
How you remember her.
Yeah, so I would say just carrying that awareness is in quote unquote little things like saying where I'm from and including my mother's side. Like we spoke about this.
We're both remember,
exactly. Like,
well, like moms are both remember.
Yeah, it's like that is a must for me. I don't care what you think about or where people are from. It's like I would include that because I need to find ways to carry this person along because it's so easy to forget. Little things like even discovering my love for red lipstick, and then I was looking at the pictures like from her. She wore red lipstick on her wedding day, right? It's like even maybe trying to recreate some of those things. We still have like a lot of our old clothes or like fabrics and things like that. Or even just building interests. Lately I've been so interested in the concept of fabric. And I don't know if this is my frontal lobe developing.
The Igbo auntie, you're going to open a fabric store in Balogun Market.
So it's just things like, exactly. So it's just things like that. I think I choose to be joyful about it, because there's also a part of me that's like, I can't imagine my mom in my life. I'm sorry, I probably wouldn't have turned out this way. And I know that's such a weird thing to say, but like, I'm so grateful that she passed when she did. If she was not going to be with me all the way, then thank God, because I can't even imagine, maybe this is selfish as well, but I can't imagine losing my mom right now. And
but it could also be because of the fact that you've lived without her,
yes,
so you can't imagine and picture what that looks like.
Exactly, right? And now I've had quote unquote 12 or over 10 years ahead learning about grief, as opposed to now this would have been my starting point of like learning, and then by the next 10 years I'll be how old, and we think of these things like this. So I think it's also
she will be so proud of you, and I'm not just trying to say that, but like, you know, you have, even with all you've said about, you know, you're trying to deal with, you know, things and figuring things out for yourself. If I'm like, we all are. Like, there's so many things that, like, even I personally, they're like, you know, when you wake up one morning, you're just like, comes in this thing, you are a bad person, or like you are in this particular thing, like, and I try my hardest not to like conflate my identity with things that I'm struggling with. Because I think that like we can struggle with this, but that doesn't necessarily mean that that is who we are. But there are things that, but it's important for us to be like, oh, I am bad at this. This is something I need to work on, so that I know that it's something I need to work on. But besides that, like, you know, even the self-awareness that it takes for you to be like, okay, I'm dealing with this, I'm grappling with this, I'm trying to understand who I am. Like, a lot of people cannot even necessarily even say that that is their own experience. And I'm sure that your mom is definitely proud of you. Like, she's proud of you, and she's proud of the person that you're becoming.
I hope so.
And she definitely is. And I think also the fact that you said your frontal lobe is developing now, so a lot of things are opening up, like, oh my gosh, like I need to understand, like, you know, all of that. So
because before self-awareness, I had to like make this chat my own self, or I don't know, maybe it's been a thing, right? But I didn't read about it anyway, so that's why I was like, is me. And before self-awareness, or after self-awareness, actually, not before, there's something I call self-acceptance. Like, accept it, accept your context, accept where you're from, accept the things you didn't have. Because I hear a lot of, like, my father didn't give me this, that's why I hate men. I'm like, just accept it. And accepting it doesn't mean you're settling for it. It just means that you're not running away from yourself. You're not
from
running,
your story.
You're not running away from all the things, even both good and bad. And there's a way your brain, like, only thinks of the negative things. If you really check as well, there's so many positives. Like, now, people say, oh, you're so confident. Bro, like, my dad taught us confidence in a way that, I'm sorry, you can't insult me out of it.
I think I've actually always thought, like, you've always had this sense of confidence. Like, you've this very, very, like, you can't take this away from Ifeoma. Like, she believes in herself, die.
And I can trace that very clearly back to my father. Like, very, very, very clearly back to my dad. Like, even little things like just the way we dress. My dad was so, he would say, like, why, as his child,
put yourself together.
Yes, like, why are you wearing this one skirt? Why are you wearing this one blouse? Every day, he would tell you things like that, right? And the ways I saw him also relate with my mom as well. Like, he would buy her things, like, he would say, oh, I want my wife to look this way. I'm not in a controlling way, just in a way that makes sure that you are always putting your best foot forward,
like,
no matter what you're going through. Because for a long time, my mom was sick as well, right? So it's like she will never go out looking sick. If you know, you know. If you don't know, you don't know. So I learned a lot of that. So it's just accepting yourself, and also being so deliberate about the good things as well that are also coming from where you come from. In that whole, it's easy to say, oh, I wish my dad had this or my mom had this, and I wish we were so rich. But like, you probably won't be this person if you're rich. I see a lot of, you know, people who had more than I did have growing up, and they're struggling with now some things that are considered foundational in just like, you know, for example, they can't find their way around. I'm not even talking about big things. It's like you can't go somewhere without a chaperone. I'm like,
wow, must be nice.
And then there's like, you know, just from self-awareness, awareness is the part of like just data collection. Just collect so much data about yourself. And I think
something you said that is so interesting is that, like, you know, it's not necessarily, you don't have to think about yourself as a bad person, but it's like knowing that who you are and accepting your own story. Because I think even like growing up, I remember being, for example, I remember being like, you know, growing up in like, when you say middle class lifestyle, everything like that. But there was a point in my time, in my life, where I thought we were poor. And not necessarily, not when I think about it, we're not poor then. But because I was in a school that everybody was so much like richer than me and someone had so much more than me, I just thought, oh, okay, I'm actually, we are poor in our family, like, hey, yeah, but like, this is my story, Sha. But, or the fact that, like, you know, my parents are separated, right? And so my experience of marriage and, you know, what marriage even looks like is very different from another person who probably had grew up in a family that both parents, you know, are still together and all of that. And I could have chosen to be like, you know, because of that, I haven't really seen, you know, amazing marriages around me all my life. Like, I should just choose that. I don't want to ever get married. Like, you know, I'm not, marriage is bad. Marriage is bad. I know you know, I'm not going to focus on that. However, I'm in a marriage now and I'm very happy and I'm in a happy marriage and I'm in a good marriage. And I remember I met my now husband like very, very, very young and very, very like early. Like, I didn't expect that I was going to meet. In fact, I came into university just thinking like, I'm here to just mind my business. Like, I'm not even trying to look for, I mean, if I find a guy that I like, okay, no problem. But like, I wasn't thinking I was going to find my husband, you know, right there. And in my first year in my university, I met the person who is like now my husband, and you know, we just started dating like from then. I mean, we got married 7 years after, but still, that was my first ever relationship. Yeah. My first ever relationship ended up in marriage. And what's so funny is because, like, in fact, one of the things that scared me into marriage, like scared me about marriage, was the fact that I didn't grow up with this sense of like, okay, looking forward to marriage. Marriage scared me so much because I'm like,
Girl, same.
oh my gosh, like marriage scared me so much. I was just thinking about that, like, is it just going to be like everyone else? Like, it just end up in like divorce or separation or whatever it is. But
Mine is like, you can lose someone this much and you'll die.
yeah, oh my gosh, like it's just so traumatic. But then I remember just getting to a point in my life as I was getting older and just being like, you know what, this is my story. Like, maybe my parents, it didn't work out for them, right? But and I can accept that this is part of like what I've experienced and what I've seen in life. But I'm not going to anticipate that would be my own situation and my own case. Like, I'm not going to allow myself to be victimized by whatever story I have been exposed to. And you know, even the sense of, a lot of people say that, you know, if you're from a broken, I hate that term, broken home, like, don't worry, like,
plates? What do you mean?
I hate that term so much. Like, if you're from a broken home, like, you know, marriage, like, you're not prepared for marriage. Like, they'll even be afraid of like getting married to someone that is from that. And it's like, I'm in a very, very healthy, positive marriage right now. And I know that, you know, if I did not come to accept that this is part of my story, that I'm from, you know, my parents did not end up, you know, they're separated right now, but then like I'm going to give myself a different definition of what marriage looks like to me. And I'm going to allow that to be my own definition of what another person has said, right? And I'm going to have a healthy marriage. I'm going to have a successful marriage. I'm going to have a happy marriage. I'm going to learn from the mistakes of people I have seen around me, and I'm going to do better, right? And, you know, it's something so freeing about being able to be like, okay, this is something that's so many things about my life, and I don't even want to go into some of them, but so many things about my life that is an ingredient for me now being somebody who would have maybe these issues or that issues, whatever it is. And when you get to a point when you realize that this is part of your story, but it doesn't define you, then you are able to, and you know, the funny thing is that you would even see things about yourself that are like, oh my God, this is a result of trauma. But then you work on it because of, you know, this is where it comes from. You know the roots. And then you know that, okay, like, I'm not a bad person because of the fact that I have this, I remember dating, I remember when we started dating, when I started dating, my husband now, I don't know if you like that I'm saying this, but it doesn't matter. But, you know.
Now you would, Mike, it's your podcast.
No, but like, he's actually going to be fine. I'll never say that. It's embarrassing to me. But I remember I used to always say then that, like, it's so bizarre when I think about it. I would just be like, I mean, I knew you were going to leave me. I knew you were going to leave me someday. Like, I know, like, I would say that, like, consistently, like, in our first 2 years of relationship. Like, I just, like, I knew you were going to leave me. Like, and I wasn't even saying, like, in a bad way. I was just like, don't worry. I know you're going to leave me. It's fine. Like, it's, you know, every good thing comes to an end. Genuine, like, you know, when I think, I'm like, oh my gosh, the trauma. Like, I was so used to marriages ending and marriages not working out that I just felt like that was what it was going to be for me. Like, even in my relationship, that I felt like I found the person that I wanted to marry, but I'm like, it's not going to end up in marriage. Like, it's going to leave me. Like, that's how I had abandonment issues, but I didn't even realize that it was coming out in that. Like, these are the symptoms, you know? And it's like, it's so easy for us to just kind of like enter into the narrative of whatever life has thrown at us, instead of creating our own narrative and just accepting that this is my own story, but my story doesn't have to end in what has happened to me, you know. And I feel like, you know, just to even tie back into what you said about you know, having gone through all you went through, how have you turned what could have been just maybe someone who doesn't even know themselves and someone who is probably even like struggling into something that is now like, I can speak from a place of this is part of my story. And if anything, like, as sad as it is that I had to go through that, like, it did not break me.
Yeah.
It is transforming and making me into who I am.
Yeah. So for me, it's a triangle. It's self-awareness, acceptance, then actualization, right?
I like
Because
that.
you don't just stop where, like, you just accept. Because then
Yeah.
you now have people who, like I said earlier,
Yeah.
weaponize that or weaponize that level of knowledge about themselves.
Yeah.
So that's the framework I was talking about that I don't think it exists anyway.
Yeah.
And but like I didn't read about it. This was just me. I just okay, awareness, acceptance, actualization, and it's not as neat as I'm saying it
Yeah.
because it's also sometimes it will happen in the reverse where you've gotten to a level or you've gotten somewhere, you've actualized a dream, and then now you have to like reverse engineer that entire thing. So it's sometimes it's so scrappy. It's not that
Yeah.
neat. But what I try to do or what I have learned to do that might be helpful to others
Yeah.
is to go through things. Like a lot of us are trying to avoid pain, avoid sadness, avoid disappointment, avoid failure. Like you spend your whole life just walking on eggshells
Yeah.
in every area. Just
How do you face it?
like just stay. And when I say stay, I don't mean following your feelings
Yeah. No,
all the
definitely
time.
not. Yeah.
I mean just being someone who can
Submit to the
roll up
process. Yeah.
your sleeves. So maybe I'll try to give an analogy. If you have a house, you have a house, it's your home,
Yeah.
and unfortunately there's a rain incident one day that comes and like floods up everywhere. It doesn't destroy the house, but there's flood, and so that place is kind of it's not comfortable to be
Yeah.
in at the time. Will you throw your whole house away
Yeah.
and say, "Oh no,
I
the
love
flood"?
that actually.
You will clean it up, like
Yeah.
you will go through that process of like clean. Yes, you might lose some precious things as well.
Yeah.
Like this is literally the same
Yeah.
thing. You might lose some friends, lose some
Yeah.
things, lose some opportunities, but you will clean that house up and you will live there again and you will make it your home again.
Yeah.
Like it's
Because
and
this is your house.
yes, so treat yourself like you are that house, like
Yeah.
physically, like your body
Your
is
temple,
that like
yeah.
is that house. Like
Yeah.
you're not going to leave yourself. And I've met a lot of people that have also triggered. And I hate, you know what? I hate using these words because I feel like
What
I don't
word?
like psychoanalyzing like everything.
Because I think we've overdone it in this generation.
Yeah, like
Everybody's a therapist. Everybody knows what they have, the disorder they have. Yeah.
So I've met people who, for example, you don't even follow through conversations. What do you mean that because you've spoken about this and with like you just think you can avoid the conversation and things become fine?
Yeah.
It's like, no, face it head on. So I'll give an example of something that happened recently that I did that was very terrible. I had this friend of mine. She's a new friend, to be honest, and we're still getting to know each other. Like,
Yeah.
it's so weird because
Yeah.
as an adult, you do
Dating,
things that
yeah.
like you're dating
It's like
your
you're
friend.
dating.
So something was happening, and we were trying to make a decision about something, and then there was another of my friend, my much older friend, a guy who was with us, like having that conversation in the living room. So my other friend gave her his phone to check something. And I was so frustrated because this process involved my new friend making a decision. And context, I've done startup, everything. For me, decision making is a skill.
Yep.
You can present me with 100 options now, and I just know the one I want. But then I get a bit frustrated when people are not that quick to decide. But then I have to recognize
People
that
are
it's a
different,
muscle I've built.
Yeah.
So I was so frustrated. I was like, I had sent her all the evidence, data, anything that you need to prove my point about this thing. And she was still like, I don't know. And so I started texting my older friend there. I started texting him just things like I was frustrated. I wasn't even saying anything horrible about her.
Yeah.
I was just expressing my own frustration because you know when you're trying to be patient in front, but then deep down I was like,
You're like, oh.
So I would and then I forgot she was holding the phone and she could see the messages coming. I forgot that she could see the messages coming in. And I'm just like, hell, Chim.
Oh, Chim, how did you get yourself into this situation? Wow. Please, how did you get out of this, man?
I'm like, I apologized. It took me like a few days. So she ended up making the decision. She just stood up quietly and left. And I was like, oh my God. Like, that was when me and my older friend now realized that, oh my God, she saw all those messages. It took me a few days, honestly. But I felt so. This is very recent, by the way. Think like this week recent.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So
you're still in the middle of it, actually. Like,
yes,
dealing with it.
yes, like, so I was telling my friend, oh my God, I feel so bad. And it's not because she saw it. I feel bad because I imagine how she feels. It's not, there's a difference between, I feel bad because I was caught versus I feel bad because I really feel how this person feels. Like, is like the dynamic is so awkward for her. Like, you know, I'm even like, how will she trust me? Everything. And I just made it a thing, like, don't explain yourself out of this. You owe this person an explanation, regardless of how you were feeling, which is also valid. Because your own frustrations too. There's nothing I said in that message that if it was someone else that we had that kind of relationship, is not something I wouldn't say. But for me, the situation is not to think, this friendship, cool.
It doesn't work. Like, it didn't work. I mean, deal with it.
I'm just like, you know what? I feel so ashamed. I feel so this. I feel so that. But yesterday, I rehearsed the voice note I was going to send. And I was like, okay, one, don't do the voice note that immediately sends. Do the pre-recorded one.
Yeah, so you can play it back. Yeah, play back and
so
listen to it. Am I making sense?
So you can play back. Did I say the right thing? Don't say but. Don't say and. Just say, hey, this. And even, because the decision was meant to be amongst 3 people. So I even told her, I'm going to tell this third person as well. I'm going to report myself to this third person because I feel like they need to know why you have now backed out on this decision fully. This third person doesn't know about this thing. I'm going to, and I'm not going to do it behind your back. There's a group chat. I will put. So it's that level of like, Jesus, like,
accountability.
You will see yourself. Like, I don't need anybody. Not like I don't need anybody, but like, that's a process I'm willing to submit myself to. Do you know how many ways out of this I could have gotten? Yeah, but you too. Why were you not decisive?
Oh my gosh, defensive.
You too. You know, why were you not this one? But that's good. It goes back to my analogy. Like, when there's a problem, when there's a flood in your house, everything. See, even fire, right? It's like, if it's your land, your house, you rebuild that house. It's different if it's someone else, you pack out. But that's how we are. Like, this life is our own. Like, you can't keep running away. So how I get to that point of actualization is going through things. Like, I don't try to put myself in situations I shouldn't be in just so I can be a hero. But if I, for any reason, find myself there, I will go through it. I will roll up my sleeves. I will enter the mud. I will
experience the grunt of it.
I will do it, and I will go through it. And it will not be easy. It will not be like me now. I feel like, do you know how this example I just gave? Like, damn, Ifeoma, like, you're the one here, you're writing, teaching people how to be this. You might see the nonsense you're still doing. So there's that.
But that's exactly why I said I like the fact that we can get to this point where we're like, I did something bad, I'm not a bad person. Like, I think we need to get, like, I did something, and it allows you to even be the kind of person that now owns up and be like, oh, I'm accountable to this thing that I'm doing, right? And it doesn't make me a bad person, but it means that I did something wrong and I need to own up to it and deal with it, as opposed to, like, for example, deflecting and all those kind of things, right? But I want to come back to something, because I feel like one of the things that, you know, really, really, really stood out to me, even in this conversation we're having, is like this sense of getting to this point where you are in this middle season and you don't necessarily know what's next, right? But then you're just trusting God for that has brought you here. So what would you say, right? And I know that this is like away from what we're talking about, but I really want us to talk about this, right? But what would you say is, now that do you have an idea of what's next? Like, let me just ask that first. You have an idea of what's next. So because you have an idea of, like, you are just trusting God to, like, make things happen. What does trusting God look like in this season? That's what I want to ask.
So I took this year gave me the opportunity, because it's like, gave me the opportunity to understand or try to know what next. But the real struggle is not in knowing what next, is in knowing how next. What next and how next are so different. I have a personal belief that a lot of people know what to do. They just don't know how, right? And that how is the hardest thing, because you're now like, okay, I've done this before at this scale. but this needs to be a different skill. Like,
Yeah.
should this be smaller? Can I humble myself enough to start again in
Oh
this
gosh,
way?
that
When,
question.
yeah, like, when maybe, for example, just an example, right? Like, maybe you've gone from building like tech AI startups, and now you have to start selling shoes.
Yeah.
And like, from your own perspective, selling shoes looks so small because like you've not gotten to the point. Yes, there's a world in which you become a Gucci or LV, but you have to start as whatever you're at that point.
Whatever the name is.
So I think for me, trusting God looks like not leaving when you now hear what next. A lot of us trust God up to the point where we hear what, and then we now start using our own what we call strategy. Strategy. Yeah.
I just thought this is the
yeah.
next thing.
Yeah. So
It
you're
makes
like
sense, like, okay.
trying to like strategize,
Yeah,
right?
just,
Like, yeah. But it's like God has to be the one to show you every detail, every piece of that puzzle, including who to reach out to for what, how to start it, what to do, when to do it, when to launch, how to launch, what to do, how to expand. Like,
But it's so difficult because God tells you and reveals things at His own time, and as human beings, like, I mean, you have, and I completely believe that the blueprint is in our spirit, like the Holy Spirit, like God is going to give us the full direction. But I know it's also difficult sometimes, like, wait to see the direction for everything, wait to get direction before we move, because we're scared that we're waiting for the next answer. It's not happening as fast as possible. Like, so we're scared to move because we just want to move.
And you know the thing, God is not obsessed with you just using your initiative in the meantime. For example,
Exactly.
this year I had so much spare time. I decided to do 100 days of writing.
Yeah.
And now what is coming out of that, I'm like, wow. Like, this was not I was praying for like 8 hours and God told me to start 100 days of writing. It's just, okay. There's all this time I had been trying this because I didn't leave Center from a place of rest too.
Yeah.
When I came out, I was still trying. I was like trying to like,
When you were still trying like how?
the first month was like, okay, vacation.
Let me just rest. Like, I need to leave.
Yeah.
Leave. Felt like leave,
Then month 2 was like, okay, sabbatical, okay. Then month 3, I was like, wait, what am I doing?
Going on?
This thing
Ifeoma, where are you?
So I started trying. I said, what did I not apply for? I
You're real.
Like,
That's so real.
I started trying. None of it was working. I was just like, okay, Ifeoma, you just need to chill. What would you do if money was an issue, right? Like, what would you do? And I just had all these thoughts about, and a lot of everything I wrote about was just about me. And the interesting thing is that people will find a way to relate to what you're sharing about too. So for me, I think just learning that you can't have that full picture if you just run with one thing. Because even if it's like, okay, even if you hear, I should start a refinery. Okay, how? Where?
What's
In
the
what
next
location? Should you start from Nigeria or Cameroon or wherever?
We just run. We're like, okay, let me just start.
Like,
but
and also,
how should I start?
I believe very strongly that God does not withhold direction. He is very eager to direct, but he will only tell you what you need to know as quickly as you submit your heart to the process of following him.
Yep.
Let me clarify. God is not wicked. Like,
Not
you can't
at
say,
all.
oh, he's a father, he's a sheep, my sheep want to hear my voice. And then he's now withholding guidance from you. And I felt that way at some point. I was like, God, stop teasing me. Like, it feels like you are teasing me, like you dangle sweets in front of my eye and then you take it away. But I realized that I was the one, and I had so many idols in my heart. I was obsessed with working. I was obsessed with, like,
Productivity.
being productive and having a title, oh, this one, that one. And it's taking me, like, one of the reasons, like, I want to spend my best day alone this year is because I'm just like, I can't believe it took me 1 year. Like, this thing could have been 1 hour of devotion that you'd have realized.
Yeah.
And maybe, like, you'd have, so a lot of times I'm like, Ifeoma, don't get in your own way. God wants to tell you this thing. He's so eager to, like, give you direction. You are the one who is thinking of this and trying to strategize your way out of his plan for you.
Because we think we are smart. And we know it.
Yeah, so if it's going to take you 1 month to heal from disappointment, failure, whatever, it can take you 1 year because you do not calm down. And we see this like in the story of the children of Israel, where it took them 40 years to get to the
Something
promised
that would
land.
have taken them.
And when was it
days.
Joshua that came? The other person that succeeded Moses. Sorry,
Joshua,
guys,
yeah,
my
Joshua,
Bible
yeah.
study. Like how long did it now take? How many days did it now
It's
take
days,
them?
yeah.
So like that journey was
And
not
it's not
worth
because
40
God
years.
was wicked and he did not want, he wanted
They
them to
were
stay. It's because
serving
they,
idols.
yeah.
They stopped.
They didn't let go of the idols that was preventing them from seeing
Like
direction.
he brought you out of Red Sea. Then you went, you're complaining again. So I realized I'm at
That
the end of the
person
day,
too, yeah.
a child of Israel.
Yeah.
Right?
We actually all, I feel like a lot of times when we talk about the story of Israelites, we always talk about like, these people, they
Them.
don't know. They're the grumbling Israelites. But it's like, literally, it's trying to show us that is humanity.
Yeah.
Like, God will literally take us through crazy things. Like, we have literally seen the Red Sea part. And then once we get to dry land, we're already
my
like, God,
God.
like,
I
where
didn't
is the
even-
food? You have already left us here to die.
Because I didn't even tell you, like, imagine after like quitting your job, leaving your company, everything, you got a quick notice to leave. I told you now.
You told me, yeah.
Oh yeah, like you were.
That time was
And
crazy.
then
Hey,
rent
gosh.
was now 5x. See, there's no amount of financial planning that, like, you can't tell me I didn't plan financially because it was meant to renew December, January. How do you get into the new year? Like, you look irresponsible because we already had the rent tip, and then it's like, leave this place.
Without any plan.
And then, like you said, like, God will pad the rent
Yeah.
because the way we found it, in 1 month,
He will pass it.
5x of the previous one, we paid, we got in everything, and then when you settled in, God, what next again? So you're actually right in the sense that, like, he will literally part Red Seas, he will bring down manna from heaven and everything. And so for me, it's just learning that, see, if there's a delay in a certain process in your life, you're most likely the one responsible for it. Like, and that's why the thing of like introspection has been a thing for me, and I would never, hopefully by the grace of God, be outsourcing like responsibility that I should take, because if you take that responsibility and move on, you are saving time. It's just there's no way to calculate it. Some of us don't know how to calculate 80 or 20%. But child does know that you are the one wasting your own time. So if God wants to take you through a process of moving on from something, make sure it does not pass the time. Like, make sure. And the only way you can make sure is by sitting, staying, waiting. It's better to wait for one full day, 1 month, than to wait for 3 years, 10 years for breakthrough. Like, you know, so and we also, I don't want to get to Bible study, don't worry, but
No, honestly, like what you said, like it's so apt because, and even when we talk about rest, like rest doesn't mean that you're doing nothing.
Yeah.
Right? But rest
Exactly.
means like spirit-led activity. You're not trying to just do things based on, as you said, like your own strategy, but you're like, okay, you've gotten to the point where this is the instruction, this is the direction. And sometimes it doesn't happen. It's not every time that God is going to like directly even tell you. It's like he'll show you through signs, he will show you through people, he will show you. Sometimes he'll directly just tell you like this, and everything like that. And so you have to like, I think at the end of the day, recognize what your season requires of you.
Yeah.
Like sit down, the introspection, in prayer, in your own personal time, like
and
what,
conversations
in
with
conversation
people
with
who
other people that you've all
exactly
gone through this life with. What is this season requiring? Because a lot of times, like we are smack in the middle of our season, and we don't even recognize that we're in any particular season. We don't even recognize what this season is asking us of. We don't even realize or recognize what this season is demanding us of. And a lot of times, like, you will not be able to graduate, so to speak, from that season until you learn what you're supposed to learn from that season.
Yeah, and that's why I said earlier, it's only human beings that seem to struggle with this.
Yeah.
Like every other part of nature, animals know when it's time for whatever activities they do. Like ants, you watch them, they'll come and be gathering and storing food. Birds know when to go and look, some animals have their own body, the way maybe their hair grows out at the time of the year to protect them from like certain extreme. Like, why is it human beings, the most advanced, part of nature, that seems to struggle with understanding seasons?
Because we're the most advanced, so to speak, we're also the most disconnected.
And then what we now do is we now box seasons according to New Year. Your New Year is not a new season for you.
Yeah.
Like, New Year is not a new season for you.
Yeah.
Your birthday could be, but it's not always a new season for you. And that's why I said, like, I'm so conscious. Like, 2026 is like I'm rolling over. Like there's
Yeah.
nothing new. Like I have to like.
Yeah.
In fact, I knew when something new started to happen for me was I think in September of this year. So imagine me and now, people that are in a different season and now think that 30 December is the same for us. It's not the same.
Yeah.
It's not the same. Like, so from September this year to whenever, I don't know when it will end, I have rolled over and I just have to, that's why I said, like,
Yeah.
it's going to be boring.
Yeah.
I might sound a little extreme with this, but like, there's a part of like torturing myself I have to do. When I say torture, like that's why I put it in quotes. It's like what you would usually want to do, maybe for fun or to rest, like sacrifice those things, like just delay gratification, right? Maybe torture sounds a bit extreme, but just delay gratification for certain things just to accomplish this goal, like, and then you can, you know, fall back and.
Wow, this has been such like an amazing conversation. I want to just ask you one more thing.
Yeah.
You know, like this year, as she said, has been a year of, what did Kylie Jenner say? Figuring things out.
Yeah.
Okay, you've not heard that meme. Like this is my year of figuring stuff, like
Please,
discovering things. Yes, but like, so what are you excited about, like, for your this new year for yourself?
Yeah.
Like, what are you excited about? My new year, you know what I mean? Like, not necessarily new year, but this new season. What are you most excited about?
I don't know. I don't know what. I have not been excited about anything in a while. I've gotten harder and harder to excite.
To get excited.
So many things don't excite me. I honestly don't.
Have you always been like that, or just like this particular?
No, I haven't always been like that. So I'm still figuring that out. Like I used to, for example, I used to be so excited about my birthdays. This is the first year I'm like, nobody should even call me. Send me a message. Send me your episode. I want to hold you to your words. Please don't call me out of excitement by 12 a.m. that happy birthday. There's nothing you're telling me that like...
Well, I for you.
There's nothing you're telling me by 12 a.m. that you can't tell me by 7 p.m. of that day. In fact, if you want to even not wish me happy birthday that day, let's say you forget and it's going to take you a week to remember, I don't mind. But like, this is the first time I'm there. Like, you should be like, my birthday, it's like, I don't mind. So
it's definitely a season thing for sure.
Yeah. I don't know what I'm excited about. Maybe there's also a part of my brain that is trying to trick itself so that I don't use overexcitement to dampen.
Disappointed,
that not even just be disappointed, just now not do something. Because there's a way you can anticipate something.
Yeah, and then
you know, I could tell you, for example, I'm doing this, I'm doing that, and then I end up talking about it more than I do it. So maybe that's where I am, because even now I'm so conscious. Like, I can say some things like off camera, but like I'm so conscious because I'm just like, no, it's not about village people. You don't be your own village person. So I don't know what I'm excited about, but I guess when it happens or if things happen, there are things I am planning towards.
Yeah.
Maybe that's like, I'm planning towards this. I don't know if the word is excitement, because I've also recently been so aware of how ridiculously difficult it is to achieve certain goals.
Yeah.
It's hard. How difficult it is to build the life that you want from a life that you never had.
Yeah.
So I'm just very conscious, and I'm just like trying to be so level-headed.
Yeah.
Just head in the game. Don't be distracted. Don't let anything sway you. Whether it's man, boy, this one, events, whatever. Just... Like I said, my theme is immersion, so head deep. Let me figure out my life. Nobody's going to do it for me. So I think that's where I am, and I'm neutral. I'm not sad, but I'm not excited.
Yeah. Honestly, I really appreciate your honesty. Thank you so much, Ifeoma.
You're welcome.
Thank you so much for letting yourself be seen. This was such a beautiful conversation, and I love the fact that I didn't even have to, I guess, even nudge you to be honest or transparent. You were just yourself. Like, and I think a lot of people are going to appreciate the fact that, you know what, like, you might not necessarily even be excited about anything right now, and that's okay. Like, and whatever season you are in, even if it's a season that is allowing you to, or you're learning things about yourself that you don't particularly love, that's okay too. That's part of your process. And it's okay. Like, that's part of your journey. And at some point, like, you would even understand the purpose to that season. You might not see it right now. Yeah. But someday you will get the bigger picture, and that's part of the journey of becoming. So thank you so much. Thank you so much for being on To Be Seen. And for someone that's watching this or listening to this, you know, we with To Be Seen, we always want to start or end our episode with like a journal prompts for you. And this is just an opportunity for you to also think back and introspect and reflect for yourself, something that you are learning. So it doesn't just end in this conversation, but it ends in you actually thinking about what does that mean for your own life? What does that mean for you, right? And the question, the prompts, write it down. The prompt that I have for us today is, what is this season demanding of you that you have been ignoring?
So you wrote that before?
Yes.
Oh.
That is why it's so weird, because the conversation just entered that without even me
Yeah.
asking that. But like literally that's what, I guess, the Holy Spirit. But
Yeah.
what is this season demanding of you that you have been ignoring? And so, whatever that looks like for you, whatever the season demands of you, don't ignore it. Like, you don't want, that is literally God trying to speak to you. That is, whether it's discomfort, through friends, whatever the season is asking of you, submit to it. Submit to that process, submit to that season, because at the other end of that submission is actually the next door to this next season. And thank you guys so much for joining To Be Seen. And we'll see you guys in our next episode. Bye.
Bye.